Out of the void into Watkins Glen we are. It's time for that of the Wicked Racing League Season 2, race number 3 here this evening. We cannot wait to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is Zach Hall. And Zach, well, we now get to try some road course racing. Very different racetracks. We started the season off at Talladega. We went to Nashville Superspeedway, and now our first road course of the season.
Yeah, it's finally here. The first road course, the first test to go right and left here on this racing surface. And it's going to be fun to see who can put down the masterful lap here in this qualifying session that we have here of about 6 minutes left to see who can start themselves up front due to, you know, they do have stages here tonight. 2 of those stages where the caution flag will fly. So that does allow for some drivers who have tough qualifying spots to come back from that would, normally would suffer from that qualifying position. But I think more or less than anything is it just gives you that ability to be out front and stay away from the trouble. Because we got a big field here tonight at this road course, over 30 cars out there. I believe we'll be right around 29, I believe, with the race control that we have out there also in the lineup. But man, it's going to be fun to watch. I cannot wait to see how it all works out. This is going to be a race full of strategy and full of drivers just trying to keep it on track and in one piece.
And drivers currently underway with qualifying. They were given 10 minutes to put down their fastest lap for 2 laps here at this course. And Watkins Glen, one of the fastest road courses that these drivers are going to have for themselves. And right now, it's that of the winner from last season at this course, Mason Hausman, who was also the winner from last week, leading the way for that 78 machine, with then the rookie newcomer, Cody Reed, who's in second. But take that back, it's Gavin Rogers, top of the board.
Yeah, what a time there for him. He led that practice session for majority of the time there and was looking super fast. Now, we were going to be, worried about that speed carrying over due to, that turn 1. Turn 1 is going to be an interesting, I think, topic all night of who carries the speed out of that corner, because you can get an incident by running wide there over that curb. But if you do it too much, you also can get a slowdown. So that's going to be a tricky spot there. I was wondering how drivers were going to navigate that there in qualifying. But Gavin really doesn't lose too much time from his practice lap there and puts it on pole position as we look at Cedric Hunter here at the moment. But got to say, Alexander Light, qualifying time for him there. 3rd on the board right now. A good pickup from his practice lap.
And as well, Alex Coffey currently that of 5th on the board, as here comes the 31 machine of Cedric Hunter. Hunter hoping for some magic here this evening. I know some drivers, they feel confident at the oval courses, road courses. Some are still trying to get used to this vehicle at this track. I mean, Zach, this next Gen 7 Cup machine certainly is a unique road course vehicle when you look at the design and how these drivers are going to have to run this vehicle.
It's very, very interesting, Sam, because the one thing that plays out so different than what the old Cup Series cars were is we used to always talk about tire fall off, and we used to always talk about the brakes being terrible and all these certain things. Well, you can kind of throw that whole notebook out of the agenda now. As it's really come down to these drivers making the most out of these cars. They're much more prepared for these road course style races with this next gen Cup car. So I'm interested to see how they play it out. The tire wear is nowhere near his disadvantage, so you can really run tires pretty much. I feel like we might even see some guys try to do the full 65 laps on one set of tires. I think we'll see some other drivers look to change tires. So it'll be all over the place when it comes to strategy, but you got to make the most of it. You got to watch out for those cold tire phases. That's when these guys initially take off from pit road and on the grid. That is when this car is going to drive its worst. Every lap, the car is going to get better, not only in the tires warming up and gaining grip, but also those brakes warming up and also gaining a good bit of grip and stopping power there by those carbon brakes starting running up. So it's definitely a different aspect than we're used to with the previous Gen 6 Cup car that I think still drivers are getting used to. But it's been about a year now since we've had this car, and I think drivers are finally figuring out the nuances of how to go fast here at a road course with it.
They're starting to figure it out, and as well, they're going to have plenty of laps to figure out this track. 65 in total. We are going to have stage breaks for this evening. We're going to have 2 with our first stage break at lap 20. Our second going to be at lap 40, and they race it to the end. And those stage breaks are going to be full course yellows. And we're going to be having that of restart attempts, where last season, restarts attempts was what hurt Gavin Rogers from winning last season. He was dominating the first about 30 laps of the race before he found himself being spun around by that of Alex Coffey. So We'll see how well Gavin Rogers can recover and get away with any of his issues as other machines try now to get put down a time. Here comes the 20. Nigel Christensen across the line, hoping for this lap to count because the first one didn't. And it looks like the second lap as well will not count for the 20. He'll be starting the tail end of the field, which that is one of the tougher aspects of qualifying. Some laps will count, some won't, based on the incident points of going off track, hitting a barrier. Those are ways to cancel out and make your lap not count as we have 1 minute and 20 seconds left. I mean, Zach, this track, I noted on it, it is one of the fastest road courses. And I cannot wait to see how these first couple of laps and the drivers get to handle this course.
Turn one, it's always a melee in road course racing, especially one like Watkins Glen here. I mean, you're going downhill into a braking zone that all these drivers are going to be probably braking even later one than what they would normally, but just due to the factor of where you start at on the track, you're not carrying as much speed, so you can brake a little bit later. So some drivers are going to brake at that normal point. Some drivers are going to try to go a little bit later. You don't have the heat build up in the tires or in the brake system, so it can be misleading to a driver. I'm very, very interested to see how that turn one works out, especially on this first restart where everybody's on the even playing field of being on a cold set of tires. I think that's probably going to be a big talking point for a lot of the night is just cold tires, because it's really everything that matters when it comes to this car here with this Gen 7 car. So we'll see how turn one works out, Sam. I expect going down to turn one, everybody's going to have a deep sigh of relief if they can just make it through there and up through the S's without having some type of incident.
Well, if you are just joining us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for joining with us on your Wednesday night. And if you want to be with us as a broadcast team and following all the different leagues that we cover, this is kind of the start of our road course session that we're going through. We've got tonight with Wicked here at Watkins Glen. Tomorrow night, Stars and Stripes, they head to Sonoma, and then the ISRC Truck Series on Monday night. They head back to the Glen, but they'll be running that boot surface you see there on the right side of the track. But for tonight, it's going to be a long one. 65 laps. There are, again, 2 stages for them to handle, and let's take a look at where the qualifying results are for tonight's race. As taking that pole award, taking the second pole at Watkins Glen. He did it last season. He does it again. It's the 77 of Gavin Rogers. The driver that won this race last season, going to be to his outside for the 78 of Mason Hausman, who also won last week. Alexander Light in the 6th machine will be taking that 3rd position. Cody Reed going to be in 4th. Alex Coffey takes 5th. 6th place goes to that of Christopher Norris. Adam Buzzio takes 7th. Steven Stimpian coming up to 8th. 9th is Cedric Hunter. And Ryan Thomas in the 40, finishing out your top 10.
In the 11th position, it's going to be the 3 car of TJ Roberts. Steven Borbell going to be in the 12th spot. 13th is going to go to the 43 Dakota Camper, with Blaine Wilson bringing it in qualifying here in the 14th position. 15th is going to be the 51 of Gregory Shaw. 16th is going to be Richard Wolfsper. And then 17th is going to be Carl Pooler. 18th is Dallas Manis. 19th, Brad Delphin, rounding out the top 20. Giovanni Perez Diemco.
And in 21st position, it's going to be that of Michael G as well as a Mitty. Going to be in 22nd is Tyler Dangler. Ryan Harrison going to be taking that 23rd position. Jimmy Kumanek going to be in 24th with Johnny Shade in 25th. Christian DeRoche is going to be in 26th position. That of the number 1 of Michael Thomas will qualify in 27th, but expecting a penalty, either an EOL or a start in pit road for the one after his ARCA braking last week at National Super Speedway. Chad Bean, unknown if he's going to be racing. No, he's dealing with some back issues. He was questionable on racing here tonight. Seems like he's gritting up. Let's see how long the 9 can stay out there on track. Nigel Christensen as well as Steve Cole, both invalidated lap times. They'll be 29th and 30th. A big thanks to 31st and 32nd position, as that's going to be actually our race controls for this evening. Going to be that of Rev as well as Nicholas. Thank you to the both of our race controls for this evening. Zach, 30 drivers for the 3rd week in a row. Going to be starting out here tonight. 77 up front, but man, he has got to be feeling a little bit nervous, knowing the last time that he was in a restart close to this position, found himself being spun around.
Yeah, that he did. He found himself spun around, so you know those demons are starting to lurk back in and probably be in the back of his head. So it's tough to deal with those type of things, but I think Gavin's going to be in a really good spot here to start off this race and try to get out to an early lead here and just hit good laps, because, you know, Mason Hausman in there in the 78 after winning last week, he won't have to be as aggressive as he probably would have been here, knowing this will be a good shot for his win. So you know that driver behind you is probably not going to be as aggressive.
Well, as we are getting ourselves rolling, the leader is getting himself settled in. They pace the whole entire lap, but let's get our thoughts from the pole sitter as we're going to pull in the 77 up in the booth. Gavin, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Well, Gavin, you got the pole. This is your second season taking the pole here at that of Watkins Glen. You almost found yourself. I mean, you dominated the first half of last season. How are you feeling like you can get the win here tonight?
I feel good, you know, as long as I just keep it consistent and just don't get caught up in any messes. I really think I have the pace just to cruise and hopefully get a win here and I really want to get that Grand Slam that hasn't been taken by anybody in Freaky Fast for quite a while, I hear. So if I could get that, that'll be awesome. And yeah, it should be a good one.
Well, Gavin, I tell you what, buddy, you're definitely faster in qualifying. How do you feel about turn 1 here on this restart? It's definitely going to seem pretty treacherous, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think these guys are smart enough to know what to and what not to do, but we'll have to see.
Well, Gavin, we'll let you get back to your team, and good luck on this start.
Thank you, guys.
As that was your pole sitter, Gavin Rogers, getting himself ready to get rolling here tonight. 65 laps, 2 stages at lap 20 and at lap 40. These drivers have 1 fast repair, 3 sets of tires in pit road to work with, and the green flag ready to get waved. Here tonight, it's the Wicked Racing League race number 3 for the next level karting 200 at Watkins Glen as they roar down into turn number 1.
Great start from everybody there. Mace Saltzman having a little bit of network issues that carrying over from last week, but here we go down to turn 1 into the downhill braking zone. No mistakes yet from the front group, and it looks like everybody going to try to make it through. But Halsman there losing the rears as he exits one. He's going to be well wide there as he's going to lose a ton of spots.
From that, a second all the way to the middle of the field, and he's having blinking issues, the same exact issues he was having last week. He's hoping those are going to clear up, but as they top the S's, Gavin Rogers already almost a full second ahead of everyone else.
That he is, Sam. This is exactly what he wanted to see. He wanted to have that clear, concise start here, and it's been able to work into his advantage where he's got a gap, and he'll have Alexander Light in that 6 machine.
Oh, they're wrecking though at the bus stop. Drivers not able to slow down. Some going high and wide. Others completely locking it down. It's going to be Johnny Shea, that of Giovanni Perez, as well as Nigel Christensen, all having issues at the bus stop as the rest of the field able to scatter their way forward. These first couple of laps, you never know what you're going to be seeing as the front half of the pack, majority of them feeling confident, except for that of Mason Hausman again, who dropped from 2nd all the way to 15th, where he's finally been able to settle in. But our first side-by-side action up in the top 5 is Christopher Norris and that of Alex Coffey.
Yeah, Christopher Norris there trying to make the move on Alex Coffey. They're also going to have Cedric Hunter right behind him, maybe looking for a position down into turn number 1 as the rest of the field comes through turn number 7 there. But it's definitely starting to heat up a lot there, going up through the S's. That battle for 3rd with Coffey on the inside here, going up the S's.
Issues. It's going to be in 23rd position, that of Brad Delph. More contact, other drivers getting involved. Nigel Christensen bouncing the outer wall, and it just continues to go bad from worse. And after all that calamity, it's going to be 2 drivers with required damage. No one of them going to be that of Tyler Dangler, Brad Delph, both going to be having to come into pit road, as well as that of Minty, and also that of Richard Wolsifer.
Tough break there already for a few drivers there with have huge damage. There you see Tyler Dingler trying to get back up to speed, and I think that car's hurt pretty bad there with that required damage flag. And it's to be expected here. I feel like personally in the first 2 opening laps here at Watkins Glen, we knew with how many cars were out in this field, anything could happen. And unfortunately for Christensen there, who didn't get that qualifying lap in, he's involved in that, and I think he's going to be saying, man, what if I got that qualifying lap in?
What if I wasn't in trouble? As you see that of 81 is Steven Stemkin right in 8th place, as drivers really starting to have a good battle behind this 81. That's for 11th position. We're going to be seeing that of Ryan Thomas and Stephen Ravel going to be close with one another as they go through the S's. Contact, you see him slide in the back. That's the 2 from that of Borbell, our winner from Talladega. He's able to hold on, doesn't get into the barriers, but now he's going to be slow through the S's, which you don't want to be that slow, especially with everyone closing in so quickly.
Man, He is so lucky right there that that did not end up taking him out of this early portion of this race there, because you reckon the S's, especially with that many cars behind you, you expect at least to get into the barrier, but also to get hit by another car, and luckily everybody does a great job to get by him. He saves it, gets it back straight, and starts going. But that just shows you when you go side by side through those S's, it is so tough, especially again, like when we look at those cold tires. As those tires are starting to warm up still, you just don't have the grip level that you need to go through those S as fast as possible. And when you have that car on the outside of you trying to make a move, it's so tough to be able to hold that bottom groove. As here he goes down into 6, trying to make the move here, heading to 7.
Makes the dive bomb move and able to clear is that of Stephen Borbell, as that Jimmy Kunek just going to have to watch as that pass goes on by. Drivers going to be settling in a lot of different mindsets coming in tonight. Some were thinking have to be aggressive, get every position possible. Other drivers thinking about just saving their stuff, make it to all these stages and see what the carnage looks like after all the madness the first handful of laps. And guess what? Those first 4 laps, crazy to see all the madness that happened. Zach, we got 2 more opportunities with that as we move up to go see that of Adam Buzzio's point of view, watching that of going to be Cedric Hunter as well as Christopher Norris heading through the carousel.
Yeah, we got a group of drivers all stacked up here from that 5th position on back, and Buzzio's going to have a good look on here as we go out of turn number 6 here, heading down the long straightaway to this hard braking zone for turn 7. A very good passing zone here. Those drivers with Buzzio just not close enough, but he's also got Steven Stimpian directly behind him, and you change your lineup just a teeny bit as a driver when you know that you got a driver behind you. It'll be a little bit more defensive, and it makes passing the drivers up ahead of you a lot harder. But out of that turn 8 there, Buzzio not getting the drive off that he needed on the entry, and it's just not worked out here as he's got Steven Stimpian all over the back deck lid here as they head down the 1.
And right now on screen, we are seeing everybody from 6th, 7th, and 8th on screen. That's Cedric Hunter in 6th, 7th is Adam Buzzio, and that is Steven Stimpian in 8th place, just riding through the S's, trying to carry their speed. And you see on the ticker, already gone and kind of giving a little bit of deja vu from last season. Gavin Rogers over 3 seconds ahead of now in 2nd place, Cody Reed.
Yeah, he is really done what he's wanted to do. He said he felt like he had the pace to go out there and cruise, and I don't know if he's cruising too much because he's out there really putting down some great lap times. Coffey was the only person even close to him relatively by 2/10 that last time by. So I'll have to see if Alex Coffey can move his way forward to have some type of shot there to battle with them, because they were pretty close in that practice session also. So early in the go, and Gavin Rogers, it's going to plan for him as Cody Reed right now in this 25. He was able to get around Alexander Light, and he's been able to pull a little bit of gap on that 6 machine. So the 25 looking good here after last week, hoping for a bigger run.
Yeah, hoping for a bigger run for himself. And Cody Reed was talking with him throughout the week, trying to get his thoughts on how he was going to attack this course. Really felt unsettled. I mean, he felt really uncomfortable, I should say, with this vehicle. He feels a lot more comfortable with the trucks at road courses. The Cup's a little bit of a difference than he was trying to figure out throughout the week. And I gotta say, with the fact that he's in 2nd place right now, he has done a fabulous job on really having almost practically 0 experience of driving these cars at road course, and now in 2nd place.
Yeah, it's very impressive to see that he's transferring over his skills. And when we look back here, it's the 78 of Mason Halsman. He's worked his way back all the way to the 10th position after going all the way back to around 15th after missing turn 1. So he's going to need to make up a lot of ground. But again, like we said, there's a stage caution at lap 20 and lap 40. Those gives him multiple chances to get some of that track position back. But I think he's going to have to worry about those connection issues once again, as it seems to be plaguing him at 78 here tonight.
Yeah, it really does seem to be plaguing him with issues. And behind that, I mean, in front of Mason's going to be the 3 of TJ Roberts, and Roberts is just running his own race right now, watching a good cluster of drivers ahead of him that have been swapping positions back and forth for this 3, just trying to keep himself in a good position. Do want to give, again, a report of the drivers at the tail end of the field. We saw a lot of different wrecks happen immediately. One driver has called it a night officially, and that was Brad Delph after being collected in an incident. Drivers had to come into pit road with service. Tyler Dangler, as well as the 55 of that of Michael Mitty, as well as going to be that of Richard Wilsifer, Chad Bean, and also that of Steve Cole. All had to come into pit road. Steve Cole caught with a black flag, so he might be in pit road a little bit longer than he would like. Back out on track to see that of the 43. Dakota Camper, who had a very quiet of us talking about him night last week at Nashville Super Speedway, but was up in the top 10, almost the top 5 for the majority of the night.
That he was, man, and that's a great night in my opinion. When you're a rookie coming into a league, you just want to have a quiet night sometimes and have those good solid runs. And I think if he can exit out of here at Watkins Glen and just have a quiet night where we don't have to talk about him too much, where it's mistakes majority of the time, then he should exit out here with a good finish. I mean, a lot of drivers come into these road course races and they have that fear of making that mistake that takes them out of the race. And that is where I think some drivers that, they think, oh man, my pace just isn't there. I'm just not fast enough. But if you just take an account for how many drivers take themselves out on their own doing, you can gain a lot of positions here and get good, solid finishes at road courses. So having a quiet night is not a bad way to go about it when you come to a road course when you don't feel as fast as, that top group does.
Absolutely not. As you see here, the 45 is going to be that of Dallas Manis, who's right in front of him is going to be some of the limitless drivers. Got Carl Fuller, Kurt Herschel. They're trying to make their way past the lap car of Tyler Dangler as they go through the S's. And as we're watching these drivers making their way forward, something of note that I've been watching a lot of is drivers getting slowdown penalties. They're not full black flags that drivers are given, but little half black flags notifying drivers they have to slow down. But Zach, I think we could be seeing drivers having a lot of different ideas on the fact of how aggressive do we want to be due to the fact there is no that of an incident limit for these drivers here this evening.
Yeah, no, like you said, Sam, no incident limit. So really they can have as many of those incidents as they want and make things happen. So I think a few drivers are definitely going to push that limit of that. There's no limit, so I guess you can't really push it if there isn't a limit. But, I think some drivers are going to be willing to give up all of those incident points just to gain that speed. And you do flirt that balance of, you see here Steven Stippy on XM1, this is what we're talking about. You can carry out a good bit more speed if you let it wash up over that curve, but that is a 1x incident point that will tally up as the race goes on. And then if you carry even farther than that, you get that slowdown penalty that you brought up, and that can really hurt you. You can, it's usually it tends to be about a 1.2 to 1.4 slowdown penalty. That 1.2 to 1.4 slowdown penalty, it will really lose you in a matter of 3 seconds. I think that was Adam Buzzio there. Woo, and he's wrecking, but he saves it. Luckily, it didn't hit anything, but that's the second time. So close, so close.
So many close calls, almost hitting the outside wall, almost taking out that of Ryan Thomas. And, oh, man, some nerve-wracking situations, which that would have been pretty ironic for Ryan Thomas because Thomas, I was watching back that last season's Watkins Glen race. Ryan Thomas actually was caught up in a kind of similar incident of running into a driver that was getting back out on track. Would have been terrible to happen 2 seasons in a row. As you see here, that the 18, Blaine Wilson, he's back here in 12th place, and he got a good show of that madness in front of him, but now trying to settle in to be making this charge forward as, again, Ryan Thomas is now the cutoff driver for the top 10 to get their bonus points as we are now closing in to halfway of stage number 1.
Yeah, quickly getting there indeed, and Adam Buzzio, he's got to be breathing very deeply here, knowing that could have been the end of the night there multiple times for him. And that's the second time I've seen that bus stop plague that 5 machine. He missed it one previous time. Before that, had to go straight on the straightaway here instead of taking the bus stop, and that gave him a slowdown penalty. So seems like that is definitely a point of a little bit of struggle for that 5 machine. So we'll see if he can try to make the most out of that right there. But Christian DeRoche is here in the 57 machine. He's trying to make the most out of his night right now, running in the 17th position. So we'll see how his opportunities open up, as he's got Carl Pooler about 10 seconds up the road from him, but he's got Ryan Harrison and Jimmy Kubinek right here behind him if he does make a mistake to go those spots.
I'll be honest, Christian DeRoche's machine, it is the Amazon Prime Video that he's running, but it was throwing me off because it looked so close to what my car looked like when I was running in Wicked. So I was like, wait a minute, who got my scheme? But it is actually just that of DeRoche's running a different color, of different color schemes on this vehicle.
Yeah, it definitely threw both of us off. I know you brought it up to me in the pre-race, and I was like, whoa, that looks exactly alike, but definitely slight differences there. The color scheme is really what hits you, is that top white roof, the black front end, and the blue rear end. So, yeah, it's one of those things that can catch the eye, as we see back here, eye-catching. Now, look at that. You have the 47 with the owl there, the Hooters owl on the side of his car, and it's definitely eye-catching a little bit with the owl on the door panel. But Johnny Shade here trying to make the most of it. And again, that's, I kind of brought it up, is, some drivers, that's big issues.
That is going to be sliding. Luckily, there's enough off-axis, but no, that's the tires. As Johnny Shade giving us some flashbacks of what we saw a lot at the last road course these drivers ran, which was back at Sonoma of last season. Drivers missing the heartbreaking zones and going straight forward. Luckily for Johnny Shade, didn't hit the tire barriers too hard, so luckily he'll be able to continue to race on. But man, was that a scary spot. Just a little bit of lapse of focus hurts you dramatically.
That it is. And old Mason Hossman in the 78, he goes around out of turn number 1. That was contact between him and the 81 of Steven Stimping. I think he was trying to make a move there, coming out through 1 with a late braking maneuver there, and just came across the nose of the 81. The 81 really not doing anything wrong, just holding his lane. The 78 comes across, and I also think it's got to do with some network issues too. I mean, he's blinking out, so it's hard to keep track of that 78 when he's side by side with you.
Extremely tough to be figuring out exactly where you want to be, as drivers being pretty aggressive. That is up front for 4th place. Christopher Norris did a dive bomb move on that of Alex Light for 4th place. Light is going backwards, not in the right direction that he wants to find himself, as now he's under pressure from that of Cedric Hunter. But I gotta say, a lot of these drivers making small adjustments, going backwards and forwards in the way that they're going. But Light's got to be careful. He drifts in, and that is Cedric Hunter needs to get on the brakes a little bit more than he wanted. But will we see the Hello Kitty machine try to make a dive bomb here into turn number 1? He's showing the indication he wants to take this pass. He'll get hard on the brakes, side by side. Out braking is the 31. He'll make the pass for here, but here comes that crossover move. A little bit of a tap as they'll side by side drag race it up the S's.
Well, both of those drivers had hot rear tires there after that slide, and that could have been a huge incident for both of them. It was first Alexander Light getting loose, then Cedric Hunter steps on his brake, he gets loose, and between those two, it was so close. But here comes Light back down the straightaway here, heading to the bus stop, but I think he's going to decide better. He's going to back out of this situation here, as he's in the 6th position and can bring home some good stage points. He did qualify in 3rd, but I think for him, this is a good running position. Get some great stage points and get out with what you can here to start this race and set yourself up for stage number 2 to possibly get some more. So we'll see how he looks to hold on to this, because I think Steven Stippian also gained a little bit on him here in this 81 machine. So we'll have to fight maybe a little bit longer, but right now he's been losing out just a tiny bit.
Has been losing out on a little bit here, but big thing for a lot of these drivers, you have to make sure you continue to ride on the best that you can. Don't want to lose too many positions going backwards, because I'm looking at Alexander Light's time. A lot of consistency for our top 4 on how they've been running. Light, on the other hand, he has had some pretty dramatic slow laps and fast laps, so he needs to find some more consistency, because the drivers behind are starting to get faster and faster as the run continues on.
It's so easy as a driver to not be super consistent. So it's one of those things where you can do a really fast lap in a road course, but then the next lap it's just not coming all together here, as looks like these guys are still battling really hard here as they go through the bus stop.
Through the bus stop, Stympian trying to make the pass on that of Alexander Light, not able to do so just yet. Light trying to hold the best that he can at this time. A lot of drivers over the radios talk about how damage is affecting them. So expecting a lot of drivers. Some might use their fast repair. There's already been about a handful of drivers in the back half of the field that have already used their fast repair. We might see some other drivers attempt to use a fast repair or stay in pit road for extended time to get those repairs done. So you got to get basically everything you can at this time. Otherwise, you're losing out on so many points. Especially in the fact that we're starting to see, talking about speedy drivers behind this group that we're on board with. Our winner from last season, Mason Hausman, he might have gotten some damage, but he is still putting out some pretty decent lap times. TJ Roberts is starting to close in. It's Ryan Thomas, I'm actually surprised by the 40 machine. After some very slow times, it's dropped pretty far back in the field, but he's also trying to close in on Stympian and Light before this stage is done at the end of lap 20.
Yeah, Stympian trying to close in the best of his possibilities here, see if he can get Alexander Light here in the next few moments of this race. They're going to be coming to 5 laps to go here in this stage. As you can see up ahead, Cedric Hunter putting the 47 of Johnny Shade there, putting himself a lap in front of that 47 machine, who had that major incident down in the 1 as they all come out of turn 6 here. And you can see just the difference. This track, they've added a ton of runoff area for this track, and the drivers will take advantage of it every opportunity they get. So you're going to see that all over the place. That part of the track is not an off track either, so it's very much used by all of these drivers. And bad run out of turn number 8 there for the 6 machine, Alexander Light. And this is going to be Steven Stipien's best chance as he clears them already, heading down into the braking zone, but the 6 is going to try to fight back here in the braking zone.
Was trying to outbrake. He does the similar move that he had with Cedric Hunter, but Stipien a much cleaner launch out of turn 1, keeping enough distance. There was no bump. The 81 will hold on for 6th place, but here comes the speed through the S's to the top of the hill, heading to the bus stop. This is where the draft starts to kick in, and we could see Alexander Light with a good enough run. Might be able to close in and do that bump here at the entry or set up for the exit of the bus stop, where I've seen plenty of drivers. It's been a lot of their mistakes is the exit more than the entry.
That it is, Sam. It's a lot of times that is the problem for a lot of drivers. The entry is treacherous, but that exit there can be very, very tricky, because if you go over the curbs there very aggressively, it can really start to step that car out right before you head to that turn 6 carousel. So drivers are going to have to be paying attention, staying on top of things there as they go through that corner. But man, it's one of the best corners to set up a pass, because you can get close to someone to that carousel, and then also if you're just got the great run out of there, it heads you down to turn 7 where you can really get a good run on drivers. So we'll see who can make the most out of those positions. But the last few laps, Alex Coffey has been closing the gap down. I think Gavin Rogers got held up by a little bit by traffic there that last lap with a 1:12.60 compared to Alex Coffey's 1:11.37. But Coffey, after qualifying 5th, has worked his way slowly forward here and is really, I think, going to put some interesting pressure on this 77 here towards the next stage.
Yeah, I mean, you think, talked about it last season, it was the 7 making a bump on that of Gavin Rogers that spun out 77 from him winning last season. Curious on this restart of how they're going to be playing nice with one another, but that lap traffic you noted on, 10 drivers already a lap down. Some already have called it a night and have retired. Others still in pit road, as that of Giovanni Perez going to be the first driver 1 lap down for himself, back in 21st position. Nigel Christensen is off the pace and is in threat, becoming the next driver to go a lap down before this race is done.
Yeah, and he was involved in that first incident of the race there, so that's a tough break for him. He'll be trying to come back from any little mistake there. And, as we get closer to this stage break, Sam, the big question looming in my mind is what will drivers do when it comes to that strategy call of, do you take the tires or do you wait on that set of tires for the next stage, or do you even try to go the full 65 laps? I know it was a discussion I had with a few drivers, and a few of them were looking to take no tires here because they feel like those tires, they stay warm, they stay in a pristine condition right to start off that next run. And also, it just seems like the tires almost get faster and faster. So, I mean, Gavin Rogers, for example, just ran a 1:10.68 out front. His fastest lap is a 1:10.35, so he's right there 3/10 off of his fastest time at a road course, 18 laps into a run. I think that just shows the longevity of these tires.
Yeah, it's just showing that you really can run some pretty decent times. And some of the fastest laps that drivers have been putting down aren't even truly counting for the fastest lap for our record books, because drivers aren't going over the limit of exceeding an instant point. And so that can change up what some of these times are. As I know for Cody Reed, he put down a fast lap, but that doesn't count for himself. Actually, he's running the second fastest car on track right now, back in 3rd place. But our top 4 are looking very quick, and we're starting to see some pretty equal running from 2nd back to that of 7th place, all pretty equal, as Gavin Rogers completely in a different atmosphere than the rest of these drivers. He is just gone in a lot of ways. As we're seeing that of Ryan Thomas, Adam Buzzio getting by DJ Roberts and pushing the 3 outside of the top 10. 2 laps to go before our stage 1 is done.
That was critical there for Adam after the mistakes in the bus stop. He finally gets back into those stage points. He's got Ryan Thomas there, the driver he almost collided with there, getting back on track right directly ahead of him. We'll see if he can try to make up some ground here to get that position from that 40 machine and get another extra point added onto that total here for the stage. But he's got the time, just can't make the mistake to knock yourself out of the stage points though.
Cannot make any mistake here as the drivers, one's on screen exiting out of the carousel, across the line currently is that of Gavin Rogers, as that is what really the gap between what we see the 40 machine, that's 9th place, 20 seconds is the difference already. massive at this time, but this is going to be one lap run to see what you get. TJ Roberts is going to be the only driver that can bounce that of Adam Buzzio outside of the top 10. He's starting to lose time at this moment. When this lap is done, top 10 drivers get bonus points. Rest of the field, that's when they have to make their decisions on what pit strategies are going to help them out for this next stage, which Stage 2, based on the way that they broke it down here, Zach, Stage 2 seems to be a much shorter stage than this first stage was.
Yeah, that it will be, because you'll get these caution laps in between that zone, so this will be shorter, and it'll make it definitely interesting. I also want to know if some drivers maybe will underfuel the car. I do know they have 80% fuel loads here tonight, so that already is starting a little bit lower. But I'm interested to see, do you underfuel the car to see if you can help speed that car up, because road courses, when you have a much lighter car, that change of direction speed and ability to do it with the car is much better.
And as we're watching this battle for 10th place, across the line now is going to be Gavin Rogers winning the stage as they're heading down in the final couple of bends. We're waiting on that at 10th place out of Buzzio across the line. Then we will see the stage break yellow come out. And for that of the 77, looking pristine, but he's done the same exact thing as he did last season. He won stage 1, won stage 2. It was at the restart for the end of the race where he found his issue. He's hoping that he can get over that hump as drivers wait for the yellow, and there it is. Our stage caution is out.
That it is, Sam. It's out, and with it coming this late in the lap too, they should go around another pace lap. So this just adds to that pace lap count for these drivers, and it's going to make this next stage a little bit interesting, especially with the pit strategy here. I expect to see a lot of drivers taking no tires, but I also expect some drivers to take tires. So, that go the old tried and true method, but I'm interested to see who does and who doesn't, because that's going to really shake up our lineup, I think, when you come to pit road here and exit out of it.
Well, it's going to take a while for them to come into pit road, and it's after pit road where we'll interview our stage winner of Gavin Rogers. So we're going to give you the rundown of where they are going to be getting those stage points, and then we're going to throw it to commercial break. And getting your winner here at stage number 1, it's going to be the 77 of Gavin Rogers. The 7 of Alex Coffey gets 2nd. Cody Reed gets 3rd. 4th goes to that of Christopher Norris. Cedric Hunter gets 5th. Steven Stimpian 6th. Alex Light's going to get 7th. Mason Hausman's going to get 8th. 9th goes to that of Ryan Thomas. And that last bonus point goes to Adam Buzzio. Thank you again for spending your Wednesday night here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting for that of the Wicked Racing League. Tonight you're watching that of the Next Level Karting 200. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to that of the Wicked Racing League on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. We just got done with our first stage of 3 here this evening, and it certainly has been a blast to watch all the drivers attacking this course. There's one driver we got to talk to. That's the 77. That's going to be our stage winner here for stage number 1. Gavin, we talked to you during that of the first part of this race, getting ready for the restart. You had the pole. You got the stage win. Man, you're going to be in second place here. How are you feeling for this restart?
I feel good. I know I got some experienced drivers behind me, and I know they won't do anything crazy. So I'm pretty sure the 25 got either 2 tires or no tires. I'm not 100% sure on that, but yeah, I think I'm in a good spot, and just try not to feel too much pressure.
Well, Gavin, you definitely did well with the pressure there at the beginning. You got off to a great start, man. And anything different from practice you felt out there? Is it feeling pretty similar here, or is this track changing up a little bit on you?
Well, I have been able to find out in the practice sessions that the track does get a little bit more grippier once it's more driven on. So yeah, I haven't really been able to feel too much of that in that first stage, because I was just taking it easy, trying not to make any mistakes, and hopefully we can do the same here and get past the 25.
Well, Gavin, we can't wait to see how this restart's going to go. We're going to send you back to your team, but good luck on the rest of this race.
Thank you.
As that is going to be the pole sitter, winner of stage 1. He's trying to go for the Grand Slam, and when we mean that by Grand Slam, it's have fastest practice, fastest during qualifying, and then win out of the race. Certainly has a great opportunity to do so as we take a look here at our wall of drivers that are racing here tonight. Zach, we got plenty of them up there, everyone focused. It's probably the only time where they're feeling cooled down and not too ramped up because they're under pacing.
Yeah, this is the calm time right now. This is what you're thinking about, your strategy, you're thinking about your tires, you're thinking about every little thing that could go wrong on this restart. But they're going to have to gear up here and get ready, because we're down here in turn number 6, and we've got 2 more turns after that before we go back green flag racing. But always cool to see the wall of drivers here as they're bringing the cams out here tonight on a Wednesday.
And big thanks to the drivers for being with us on the cams as we get ourselves prepared. I mean, Zach, before we get ourselves rolling, this is going to be quick, but Gavin Rogers, not sure about that Cody Reed decision. Cody Reed, no tires, just took fuel for the 25, and that's what gives him the lead on this restart.
Yeah, I think you see the same for Cedric Hunter, Steven Stimpy, and Christopher Norris. All those guys on the same strategy here of no tires. And like I said, I felt like that was going to be the case for a few drivers here, and it definitely was. So we'll see how well the new tires take off for Rogers, or is the new tires, a little bit a little bit slower here with these pace laps cooling down.
And with also them cooling down, the track is cooled off. It was over 100 degrees during practice and qualifying. It's now down to just 95 degrees on the track. And we're back to green flag action and a fabulous launch for the inside lane. Cedric Hunter's already passed that of Gavin Rogers. It's side by side for the 31 and the 77. Cody Reed is gone for himself as that of Gavin Rogers. He went from dominating. Watch out, they're wrecking behind though. Exit turn 1. It's Gregory Shaw and also going to be Giovanni in the 11.
Oh no, that's a tough break for those guys. It's the restarts that are going to be the most crazy points of this race, and it's already shown to be that. Is those old tires. Look at this, the takeoff speed on them is so much better. Gavin Rogers gets loose out of 1. Now he's back to 4th in a position that he has not been in tonight. And this is going to be the true testament of, will the old tires be the way to go, or will the new tires be it? Because again, most drivers feel like the new tires are the way to go, but like I said, those old tires seem to stick well. But Cedric Hunter, big mistake from him in the 31. I think he's going to be losing a position here to Christopher Norris. But now Gavin Rogers, he's going to have to make quick work because Cody Reed's trying to drive away.
Trying to make quick work, and also some other quick work. Mason Hausman able to get by Steven Stimpy, and he'll move up to 5th place. That's 78. Able to come into pit road, use his fast repair, completely got the damage fixed, and now he's on the charge to go for back-to-back wins this season as Christopher Norris ducking down low, giving the opportunity. It's the 38 trying to take the lead from Cody Reed.
Oh Oh, it almost slides up into the 25. This is going to create a stack up. Now Cedric Hunter's going to take advantage of that. He might even get to the inside of Christopher Norris, but no, not able to do it. Christopher Norris closes the door, and he's going to take the lead here early in this run. And now Cody Reed trying to close the door on the 77 of Rogers, and he does there at the top of the S's. Now it's going to be Cedric Hunter in the second position. These tires are going to start to warm up from the new tires here in the background, and they're going to start to fire off a little bit better. But Cedric Hunter, big mistake there in the bus stop.
Goes over the bus stop, over the curve, and it'll go down low. Alex Coffey gets spun around. Hard contact for this 31 machine and the 7, and it's a complete pile-up. Alex Likey runs into the 7 machine, who tries to get moving, and it is chaos in the exit of the bus stop.
And it was definitely chaos there. 2 different mistakes and 2 different drivers with big repercussions. As old Hausman almost into the back of Rogers there as we go back and see what's going on up here, as he's going to get passed now by Steven Stimpian as they had their incident earlier. But yeah, those 2 mistakes. It was Cedric Hunter just loose under braking, losing the car in the rear end, slides to the grass. Kind of similar deal for Alex Coffey as he got into Ryan Thomas. Thomas holds on to it, but it's Alexander Light who got caught up in that. Unfortunately, just got to be the innocent bystander.
Oh, he was completely innocent. He watched the 7 spin initially and then try to get around him safely. There was no space for the 6 as he was going to be outside of the top 10. He's hoping to get back up front, qualified in 3rd place. We know there's speed in the 6 machine, but right now, got to be surprised. The drivers that took the old tires did not come in for freshies for themselves. And Christopher Norris, Cody Reed leading the way over that of Gavin Rogers.
Yeah, they're loving this field right now. Clean air out front. It allows you to do so much as a driver, but I will say, this is a thing that has a mistake for a lot of drivers. I know myself included. I deal with this syndrome of where you're out front, you don't really get to base yourself off of somebody else in front of you. Sometimes you use that driver in front of you to base if you're going to brake too early or too late. It's very easy to overdrive these race cars and get into a corner too deep when you're just out front here selling all by yourself. But Christopher Norris looking very strong right now and doing a great, fabulous job in this 38 machine as he leads the way here once again, and he's opening up a gap here to Reed. Reed has still been holding off the Rogers.
I mean, he really has been doing a great job. We look back from that of 38 machine of Christopher Norris and seeing drivers going over the rumble strip, trying to get a little bit extra speed, ramp up through the S's here as they get to the top of the hill. The draft is going to be helping them the most, but Christopher Norris just put down his fastest lap of the race. Same to Cody Reed. But watching at the speeds, it's actually Steven Stimpian who was the fastest on that lap back in 4th place.
Yeah, and if you go back to 7, Cedric Hunter ran a 1:10.77 for him. So those old tires, that's all 4 drivers on old tires running their fastest laps of the race. And that is just showing the trend that I've seen here in the past with this next-gen Cup Series car. The tires, they just seem to just rejuvenate immediately as soon as you keep going back out on them. It just gets better and better as the runs go on. But look at Ryan Thomas in the background. He's wrecking into that inside wall or outside wall there off of 6.
Onto the right side, he goes for the 40. Everyone else able to get by that of the Lowe's 40 machine. And the rest of the field, big scare, able to hold on, but a big struggle for that 40 machine, losing so much time. Ryan Thomas, one of the drivers that fought to get himself some late bonus points there for the stage. Now going to be fighting it back in 15th, hoping for a caution to come out and help out this 40 machine. And, you know, we've seen some drivers use their fast repairs. We've talked on the fact that Mason Hausman, who we saw run into the tire barriers, he had to use his fast repair. A driver that didn't, 10th place runner right now, Adam Buzzio, he did not use his fast repairs. I'm curious if he is going to use his fast repair or not. He was talking over the radio chatter about that 5 laps before the stage break for stage 1. Said that he felt like, you know, there was a lot of this damage is not helping him. Right now, he's looking pretty solid in 10th place.
Yeah, I had a look over his car, maybe from my side of the viewing point. It doesn't look like he's got too much terrible damage anywhere on this car. I mean, so I don't know if it's just you know, a little bit of placebo. Sometimes that can have an effect on car. You see a little bit of a finger crinkled up, and you start to drive differently for that. So we'll see if Buzzio looks to take that fast repair there at some point, but definitely saving it for now, as I think his car looks pretty pristine there behind Alexander Light, who was unfortunately caught up in that incident with you know, the 7 machine and Alex Coffey there, but he's doing a good job of holding on to that thing. And look at Stephen Borbell in the 2 machine, our season opener winner. I mean, he's right here, made up 4 positions from where he started in the 12th spot and took advantage of a few mistakes from drivers up ahead.
Yeah, and he was actually caught up in a spin where he spun around and had some major issues. He's going to have the 11 getting back out on track to his out inside as the 2 ramps it up the hill. He's got that of TJ Roberts in front of him. Alexander Light closing in on speed. That 6 looking fast for himself as the 2 is running well. I'm curious on the fact of, for our leaders, how well they're doing at this moment as the 2 running well for himself in the Fortnite scheme, trying to keep himself in a very colorful state as he's going to be running up front, closing in the time as we take a look at that of Corbell from his driver cam and to see, looks like, I'm not sure if those are his actual glasses or if those are some virtual glasses that he has on, but those are stylish with that Fortnite scheme that he's running tonight.
Yeah, he's styling out there tonight for sure as he's trying to make his way continuously forward there as he's got that 3 of Roberts right in front of him. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think those might be virtual glasses, guys. I think when he scratches in there, I can see how they went behind him. As I think he's having those projected on his face. But that's some cool technology there that you get to see with the webcams. And he's enjoying the rays out here tonight at Watkins Glen. So cool to see that from Steven. But definitely having a great run for himself. But I will tell you, it's starting to heat up front. You know, Gavin Rogers finally did get past Cody Reed. He's up the second, closing in on Christopher Norris here. And now Reed's also fell back into the clutches of Steven Stimping and Mason Halsman. But all these drivers have really been turning their fastest times in the race here. It's so impressive to see this track picking up speed and everybody finding it.
It's picking up speed, and it's also cooling off. This track test from that last restart where I talked about being 95 degrees temperature, it's gone down 3 degrees. It's down to just that of 92 degrees. So they're starting to feel that temperature dropping. And for the track temp to be that low and it continue to fall off, it just means this track is going to get faster and faster for each stage that we start moving forward.
That it will, Sam. The track will definitely pick up more speed here as that temperature continues to drop down. But here we go down into 1. Christopher Norris, he's starting to feel the pressure. He's starting to pick up. Rogers using all of that track there to gain as much speed as he possibly can through that turn 1, now through the S's. This is going to be the toughest part to follow. This is the highest speed portion of the track where downforce matters so much, but Rogers here is really able to follow well. He ducks out left here to get a little bit of downforce on the nose. Now he's going to look just to make that 38, maybe outbreak himself here heading into the bus stop in the 38, really deep in there, but doing a great job of making sure he hits his line. But Rogers here going to have a little bit better exit in the 6.
And Gavin Rogers having a little bit more incentive for the 77. He's part of Next Level Racing, who also has the sponsor of Next Level Karting on the hood of the 77 machine and running well. But something that we've heard a lot while talking to Christopher Norris throughout the week was the fact that he is not someone that feels confident leading races. He loves to be the driver chasing someone down, but being the leader, you talked about it, Zach, it can throw you off. And Norris seems to be just a little bit off pace compared to how Gavin Rogers is feeling on the speed wise.
Yeah, definitely a little bit different. I mean, he's been consistent. I got to give him credit. He's been super consistent. 110.79 there last time, and that's pretty good. And right now he's doing a good job. He's not making mistakes where the easy spots are to pass on the racetrack. He's doing a good job of backing those corners up and not allowing Rogers to really get the run that he necessarily needs. But again, for these S's, the toughest part to follow. Rogers is definitely going to have the toughest time through here. But I think down to the bus stop, this is where the mistake could loom. And look at this, Norris going to drop left here. I know he wants to break the draft, but you got to be careful there to mess up your braking zone heading down here where it can set you up for a worse corner. But does a great job, once again, getting through there down in the 6.
It's through the corners, holds on for now, and running a little bit of a higher line through that of the carousel is this 38 machine. Trying to find every little inkling of speed is that of Gavin Rogers right now, who's unimagined. Rogers has got to be thinking, this is so bizarre. I took fresh tires. I should have been already gone and past these guys. But due to the fact that the older tires are holding on and have been doing a great job defending the 77, this has been incredible speed watching them as starting to close in on a slow driver. It's going to be the one of Mike Thomas right in front of our leaders.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting predicament. Here's Rogers again, takes a look down into 1. Norris is going to cover it off, though. Good exit here off of turn number 1 as they head through the S's, though. They're going to have that lap machine. This is going to be where you got to navigate well. If you don't pick the right lane, if you're Christopher Norris here, you could get stuck behind him, and just like that, he does somewhat, and Rogers is going to have the better run because Norris had to lift a little bit, but contact there somehow, and man, he holds on to it. Rogers could have had a race end right there in 1 split second in the S's, and that gives Norris the breathing room he needed.
I don't know how he held on to that. That was incredible. That thing got so kinked out of shape. And that slowdown that these drivers for our leaders had is actually closing in for Cody Reed, Mason Hausman, as well as Steven Stimpian. They're slowly chipping away with how great Norris has been defending.
He's been defending excellent here. And, you know, here comes Hausman also on Steven Stimpian. He's trying to make the pass happen for him. These two made contact early in the race. I wonder if there's any love lost between these two. To see how it works out for this group, but at the moment Steven Stimpian holding on to that position here as he comes through turn number 8. Hausman definitely a threat here in this race. I wonder, you know, I gotta think, Sam, you know, these guys seen these drivers that have stayed out on old tires really hold position and even turn some of their fastest times and personally pick up grip from where they've been early in this race. Do Gavin Rogers, does Mason Hausman change their strategy up here and stick to a no tire call, or do they go back and say, you know, this is going to be the longest run of the race, I want those 4 fresh tires?
I think, if anything, this might be the prime time for them to stay out on these older tires, because you got to think of it, you're going to be having about that of 45, 46 laps you got to worry about with old timing, with just, you know, a tire stint, compared to Christopher Norris, Cody Reed, and all the drivers that decided to not take tires on this last green-white checker. They're going to have to deal with this same tire compound for 65 laps. That's a lot of pressure to put on tires as they're closing in on more lap traffic. That's going to be Richard Wolsifer in front of these leaders now.
Yeah, it's going to be Richard Wolfister up here. And, oh, no, I just seen that mistake. That was a great dummy move there by the 77. He looked left right before the braking zone. Christopher Norris, I could tell, overshot that corner and immediately started to lock up that tire. And that's what you can't do. You can't look in the mirror there in the braking zone. You got to look forward, especially if that driver's not alongside yet. So Christopher Norris, they're going to lose that lead. Gavin Rogers back to the front spot where he's going to try to win this stage number 2. And he said he wants the Freaky Fast Grand Slam. Well, he's on the way to it.
He is trying to win. Stage number 2 is that of Gavin Rogers as we've got 5 more laps to go. We look back to that of the 3 machine in 7th place. That's TJ Roberts, who is running down pretty nice laps for himself. It's the drive behind Seymour Bell, up 4 positions from where he qualified after spinning out. Gotta say, that is a fantastic recovery for himself. Adam Buzzio up to 9th after getting some damage repairs on the 5. We're starting to see drivers that are inside of our top 10 having some decent runs, as that of Alexander Light lost touch to Buzzio, and now under pressure to that of Lane Wilson.
Yeah, under that pressure here as that 18 starts to close in. And my question in the background, you got Alex Coffey in the 7. He's about 4 seconds off this group. He's not running the greatest times right now. I don't know if he got held up the last lap or that little bit of off-track excursion there really hurt that car, but doesn't look any damage around. So I think he's going to have a good shot here to try to go up and get into those stage points, as it's been a tough break after that incident there in the bus stop, losing a ton of track position after he was going to be trying to fight with Gavin Rogers here, as he was one of the faster drivers on that first stage, but a simple mistake can set you back just like that.
And then as well, behind the 7 machine, Brian Thomas, 40, got to give big kudos to that driver for being caught up in a big mess. Actually fell back almost the last place of the drivers on the lead lap. He's climbed back up to 13th as drivers further behind have been having a lot more troublesome here. Here's Dakota Camper, who last time we talked about him, he was driving pretty well inside of our top 10. Now is in 14th, just trying his best to hold out in our top 15. And then behind them is going to be seen that Nigel Christensen and others. But I got to say, 17th place, where we find that of Ryan Harrison. Harrison was about to go a lap down. Actually, was the lucky dog, excuse me, at the time of our stage caution. He's back on the lead lap, running in 17th place. And it looks to be, based on the way the times that he's running, will stay on the lead lap, as a few other drivers deeper in the field. And it's that survival mode at this time, with a lot of these drivers had mistakes throughout the night.
Mistakes. I think that's one thing a lot of people will come out of Watkins Glen saying, you know, that was what kind of held me back from getting to that full potential. And we look at one of the drivers who made a mistake, Cedric Hunter there. 1:10.95 from him last time by. That's quicker than our leader. Mason Halsman ahead of him is about a 10th quicker. Steven Stippian in the same ballpark there also. So those 4th, 5th, and 6th drivers are the fastest cars on track. They didn't take tires other than Halsman this last time by. Again, we talked about, will they try to take it the full 65 laps on one set? I think it's going to be a smart call. And then I think it even plays into the factor of, will they start to show their age? Will it actually start to affect them? I don't think it will personally. I just see the lap time still clicking off for them. So we'll see if they like to do it once again. I just want to see if anybody else takes that little bit of what they've learned so far and use that here on this stop, not to lose any track position.
Well, I also got to think for that Christopher Norris, Cody Reed, Stympian, and Cedric Hunter, all drivers that decided not to pit. They were in a position where they weren't directly on Gavin Rogers. They had Alex Coffey and a couple of other drivers in front of the 77 that they then had to pass with taking no tires. So this actually could make a lot of people fall behind, have Gavin Rogers fall even deeper than just our top two, fall even deeper into maybe 3rd or 4th. On this next restart, if the 77 decides to take tires.
Yeah, it could be even worse. It really could be a worse situation for him. So we'll have to see how it all shakes out. I think these drivers should be pretty good here with the fuel levels, right to make about 25 laps. So that last stage should be no problem for them. So I don't think fuel will be an issue. So we shouldn't see pit stops after these last stage cautions.
As Gavin Rogers leads the way, he's going to have a couple of more lap drivers to get by. Johnny Shade going to be the next one in his sights. That's the 77 coming up to that of the white flag as stage number 2. Once lap 40 is done and 10th place crosses the line, that will count. The yellow flag will come out for our stage as the 77. And Zach got for 40 laps, I feel like we've been saying the same thing, just looking so strong up front.
Yeah, he wants to come back after the mistakes, or not, I can't even say mistakes. I mean, just the incidents from last season and make up that ground. And he's trying to do the Freaky Fast Grand Slam. We haven't seen it done here yet in the Wicked Racing League. And if he can pull it off, that means something that hasn't been done in Freaky Fast history in a long time. I know we keep the record for that, but it is definitely one of those interesting things that I think he wants to check off the list after winning the championship and being so dominant last season. If he can do it here in this field this season, as it's got even stronger in my opinion, that'll be much more impressive.
Extremely impressive to see as 77 goes through that of the carousel. The 77, Gavin Rogers, he's the most winningest driver of this series. He's got 8 wins so far in this career. He's going for win number 9 potentially here.
You can see Rogers here. He's got only one more corner to navigate. It's going to be easily held off here as he's opened up about a 4-second gap coming to the finish line. And Rogers here, stage number 2 in the check books. He's got 3 of the 4 completed. And yeah, go back all the way to 2022 there in October of Vincent Sora there at the World Series of Sim Racing for the last time that Freaky Fast Grand Slam has been completed. So we'll see, can he do what Vincent Sora pulled off, and that would put him in really a good group of drivers.
And some controversy. I think we actually might have the ability to go back because we're under yellow. There was a late incident between Alex Light and Alex Coffey coming to the end, last couple of corners. I don't know if we'll have the ability to go back, but there was some heavy contact between those drivers. As we're going to see here, if we get the replay up as we go back. But Zach, drivers starting to get aggressive, and Alex Coffey, one of those that we know can get very aggressive. We talked about Alex Light kind of being a victim of earlier circumstances around this 7. And it seems like he might be the victim again for another situation here between those two as we take a look at this incident between the two drivers coming to the second to last corner right around the time the yellow flag came out.
Yeah, you can see just really hard into the braking zone for the 7 machine right in the back of the 6. And yeah, if you're Alexander Light, you're not going to be too happy about that. I mean, it was at least a car and a half width gap to him in that braking zone, and the 7 just closed in so quickly. And it wasn't even for a last position in the stage. Blaine Wilson was the driver up ahead of him for the last position in the stage. So I know Coffey was trying to get everything he could out of that, but you're going to be definitely upset if you're the 6. That's the second time you've been involved in a fiasco with that 7 machine here tonight. So Alexander Light minding his own business, kind of innocent bystander once again, Sam.
Not happy about that one, but for us, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we are going to be seeing how these drivers can attack this course. Gavin Rogers wins another stage. He's trying to go for the freaky fast Grand Slam. That's been the fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying, winning all the stages and winning the race. Can the 77 get it done? He's got one more thing he's got to capture. That's the win. We'll see it on the other side. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to that of the Wicked Racing League on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Thank you for joining us on that of your Wednesday night. Got that of Zach Hall with us, and Zach, it has been a crazy race so far. 2 stages are down, and now we race it to the end. Gavin Rogers is trying to go for the Freaky Fast Grand Slam currently. Biggest issue, though, all he needs to do is to win this Grand Slam, which is be the fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying, win the stages, and then win the race. He's all the way back in 6th place. He's got a lot more work to go through than he did last restart.
That he does, my friend. He's got a lot of work to do here, and again, these no tire strategies, they've shown up again. He takes tires once again. Now he's going to have 5 drivers ahead of him with all old tires.
Well, we were going to bring up our leader right now up in the booth, but it seems like we do not have him in the Discord. But we do have some sponsor reason we need to get through, so we can thank all those that help us here at that of Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And that is, you see him blinking at the top left, that's iRacing iFlag. iRacing iFlag have plenty of different products to help you as a driver perform at your best. They've got their patented iFlag virtual flag system, as well as their digital pit board. 2 products that will enable you to see and be able to react as soon as possible possible for the best strategies, go use our promo code FreakyFast2022 today at purchase.
You also can add to that iRacing iFlag and go in there and throw yourself in an admin box, folks. You've seen the two-stage cautions tonight. If you want to be able to have the ability to control the race from your driver's seat, there's nothing better than the admin box with pre-programmed buttons all set up for iRacing to help you control that race. You can head on over to adminbox.com to check out what they have in store for you there and use the discount code there seen on the screen to get yourself a discount at purchase. And I tell you, it definitely makes race control right at the fingertips.
And as well, huge thanks to everyone that has already donated, who has already helped us out. But it's our charity event, the Daytona 500, February 11th. I know we have some people in the chat wanting to get a new link because they want to be involved. Well, we will send it here just in a few moments. But thank you so much to everyone that's already donated to be a part of the race. There are just a handful of spots left. We do also need some reserve drivers if some people are not able to show up for the day of the race. But it is only a $5 donation. Get yourself involved. And if you aren't going to be racing, donate anyways. It's for a great cause, for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. We're trying to figure out how to find a cure to end this disease. And also the donations help in helping families that are struggling with their diabetes issues. Thank you so much to everyone that has helped. As we are about to get to green flag racing here, we've seen these restarts be crazy. They've been maddening, and we're back to green flag racing here for that of the next level karting 200 here at the Glen.
Let's see if Cody Reed can hold on to this machine here as he gets a good turn one here. It's going to be interesting to see where does Rogers end up. How does he start off this run? It was Mason Halsman who lost out there on that restart. He fell back, now well back into the clutches of this field. It looks like actually he's going to be back around the 21st. He's back on pit road, so I think he's had some issues.
Yeah, he had some issues. I believe might have been linking issues that could have forced him into having to go into pit road. Other drivers having issues. Top of the hill, going to be that of Dakota Camper, who goes from that of up in 12th place to now 17th. Drivers are falling quickly. Adam Buzzio having issues behind this of Gavin Rogers. And Rogers in 5th place. He's got the same 4 drivers he's got to figure out how to get by. And as well, you've got that of Alex Coffey trying to move forward as he's already gotten by Alex Light. Those 2 drivers, we'll see if they get close to one another, if we'll have any other real explosions happen again.
Oh, and here comes the 7 making a big move,
no.
and that's going to be Buzzio around.
And he's coming back down. He gets into the Borbell. Adam Buzzio going to stay to the inside wall as he's going to hold down the brakes, tries to get moving, and will do so, minimizing the amount of drivers that could have been involved in that wreck. But that is terrible for Adam Buzzio, who's been working all night long to try to stay in the top 10. And now all the way back to 18th on the final restart of this race.
Yeah, and that was no contact between the 7 and the 5. It was just, I think the 5 reacted to the 7 getting to the inside. I think he just reacted to it. And, Alex Coffey up through the S's. As we're looking at the 18, the Blaine Wilson, Coffey had a big moment. See, he's checked up here with this 48 right in behind him. It's going to be a big move maybe from the 48 here, or it's going to be Coffey trying to hold on to that 7th position.
All the Alexes actually had issues. Alex Light just had to take a toe to pit road. Too much damage for the 6th machine. That is just adding to the total. That of Carl Pooler, that of Chad Bean already was in pit road. Tyler Dangler, Dakota Camper, all sent to pit road. And that of Alex Light pulling it a night.
Yeah, he pulls it into that garage and is going to call it over after a great qualifying spot of 3rd. It's just going to go all up in smoke there at the end of this race. But as you see Coffey here, he's trying to make his charge back forward after his incidents. He's going to have TJ Roberts, his teammate, in front of him in the 3 machine. But it's that top 5 that is broken away. Cedric Hunter, Steven Stimpy, and Christopher Norris and Cody Reed all on the older set of tires here. Can they make the most of this and hold back Gavin Rogers? It's going to be, about a 20-lap run here total. We've seen Christopher Norris hold off for a while, that group. But can they do it for a majority of this run? That's going to be the huge question in my book.
Yeah, and they're trying their best to stay ahead. Gavin Rogers just put down one of his fastest laps, and he's on fresh tires, showing that, honestly, this track is working in Rogers' advantage. I think if maybe the track temp wasn't cooling off as dramatically as it is right now, maybe the drivers that are staying out on these older tires would have a bigger advantage moving forward. But the fact is, the weather is helping that of the 77 stay in the fight.
That it is. I mean, last time by a 1:10.15 from Cody Reed, a 1:10.27 from Christopher Norris, a 1:10.63 from Steven Stipien, and then a 1:10.25 from Gavin Rogers. what a amazing sight to see there. But this is definitely ramping up when it comes to track speed, but the old tires showing they've still got it going.
I mean, it's at this point, it's the 4 versus the 1. Gavin Rogers just driving on pure speed with fresh rubber, as everyone else in the top 4, they are doing their best to stay out there on track. Steven Stimpy in that last go-around just put down the fastest lap of the race.
What a crazy sight to be seen right now. This is really ramping up, folks. Gavin Rogers has to be worried about this. He's seeing those older tires have an advantage, and I think he's questioning maybe even reality. It's such a mind-blowing thing to see when you're a driver, to see guys that stay out on an older set of tires start to pull away from you. It really starts to play with your mental, in my opinion.
It really does, and as these top 5 are pulling away, the reason why we're so kind of flabbergasted by this is because our top 5, a full second faster than 6th place. That driver is TJ Roberts, who's actually pretty decently quick. The next fastest driver, Alex Coffey, 6 seconds off of our leader. That 7 is fast. I'm curious on how aggressive he wants to be to get by this 3 machine, because if anything, Coffey needs another stage to get back in this fight.
That he's going to need something big to happen for our drivers up front here, as it's definitely been an interesting race so far. I think this is going to have a few drivers questioning what kind of strategies they play coming forth at road courses, and it's just showing those older set of tires are just so good when they have that heat already built into them. You can take off so well, and the speed just continues to ramp up, as really Rogers hadn't been able to do nothing. As you see Roberts here trying to do what he can, as his teammate of Coffey closes back in to try to get into the top 6. But you can see the front group there, it's all driven away now, and they're closing in on even Cody Reed, Christopher Norris, Steven Stippian, all of them down in the 110.2s, almost into the 109s. This is mind-blowing to see on 49-lap old tires.
And this team as a whole, I mean, I was talking with them coming into this week. Almost all of them were not sure about how this race was going to go. They were all still trying to learn how to drive this racetrack, even in the practice session before qualifying tonight. They were all trying to figure it out. One thing that they did know was a strategy that was going to put them up front. I mean, this strategy has been incredible.
It's going to be any man's game here late in this race. They can't stumble over each other. They got to be smart. They know Gavin Rogers is so quick. You can't let Gavin, though, just come through and make easy passes. You have to make him work you over. You can't make mistakes to allow him to get by. And I think Steven Stippian here, he's being held up just a tiny bit by this number 38 machine of Christopher Norris. And even Cedric Hunter, he just turns his fastest lap of the race at a 1:10.132. So it's continuing just to pick up, as now Reed starting to open a gap with Norris under pressure from Stippian.
You got that of Cody Reed right now, going to be part of that Morecast Racing team. He's a solo driver, but in alliance with the 3 drivers behind him. That's all drivers from Smoke Inc. Christopher Norris, Steven Stimpy, and Cedric Hunter, all working together. These top 4 drivers, alliance team, trying to beat out the most winningest driver of the Wicked Racing League of Gavin Rogers, and Rogers trying to get that coveted road course win, and as well the freaky fast that he's trying to go for the crown jewel if he can, but it's looking tougher and tougher as each lap goes on by, as we're coming to 15 laps to go when they cross the line.
Yeah, already coming to 15, and here's Stippian now on the outside groove here, coming down the turn 1. I think this is going to be a tough situation here for Christopher Norris. What do? Do you let the 81 go? And I think the 81's going to make the move. Here comes Steven Stimpy, and now Cedric Hunter around the outside. He's going to try to make this happen, but you got Gavin Rogers in the background lurking, running the fastest laps of this race. And now it's getting close here. Rogers goes to the outside, down into the S's, and he's not going to be able to make that work. No grip there. Cedric Hunter up the 3rd, Steven Stimpy up the 2nd. Can he chase down Cody Reed?
It's the frustrating thing when you have teammates that are working together, is that you have to practically bully your way forward, but you cannot gain damage if you're Gavin Rogers. As Steven Stympian, like we were kind of noting on, it seemed like he was being held back by, was held back by Norris, but now Norris back to 4th place. How long will the 38 be able to hold off that of Gavin Rogers? Because Rogers is getting faster and faster, but Cody Reed just put down his fastest lap of his race that last go-around.
Yeah, I mean, it's all over the place. Everybody's just getting faster here. They're learning the racetrack. The track's speeding up, and Gavin Rogers is questioning, why do I take tires here tonight? You see he's touching the grass. He's got to feel a little bit of sense of urgency as they're coming to 14 laps to go here at Watkins Glen. That is going to be tough ordeal here for him to get from 5th to 1st here with a sizable gap, but he's going to dive it down the inside here on Christopher Norris, and it's going to be close racing down into 1. I think Norris going to have to run off of 1 here and up to the S's. Rogers here losing out big.
And now starting to see the sun rising, the weather conditions, they've cooled off even more. But a driver that was making a way forward back in 9th place, Alex Coffey, finding issues for himself. He was battling his teammate of TJ Roberts, and it goes haywire out the exit of turn 1. He'll fall back to 11th place, which now puts in a driver we haven't talked about all night long. Gregory Schull now up into the top 10, but we go back up to the lead. Lap traffic, Rogers, his best opportunity to move up to that of 4th.
Yeah, Johnny Shade there all in the way through the bus stop. He kind of held up Steven Stipping. Now he's going to hold up Christopher Norris and Cedric Hunter along with Gavin Rogers, but it's going to be side by side here down to 7. Rogers needs to make this pass happen now. And they're going to make a little contact.
Norris cuts down a little bit early, makes contact with the 77. Luckily for Rogers, he holds steady, and now the 77 able to clear that of Christopher Norris. But how aggressive will we see this 38B, or will he just settle in, take a 5th place finish as they roar down into turn number 1? Rogers, you see that blue machine in the rear mirror not getting bigger. Stay steady, and for that of Gavin Rogers, he's got to be loving this feeling. Now it's on to the next driver as the laps continue to tick away. 13 to go, as that of Cody Reed holding strong and still running faster than Steven Stipien.
And how fast can Rogers close in? He's going to have a tough driver to get by in front of them. Cedric Hunter in the 31, who was held up a good bit by the 47 there, had to really do a evasive maneuver off the exit of bus stop there that last time. So nothing like that here to help give Gavin Rogers that gap up to that 31 machine. And you know the 31's going to make it wide. He's got his 2 Alliance teammates right in front of him. He's not going to allow this 77 to make it easy pass. And you can see here they're using every bit of grip, every bit of the track here to try to gain time as they're going to be coming to 12 to go. And I'll tell you, Cody Reed, he's doing a great job up front. But Steven Stipien, he just looks excellent. He's closing the gap down in front of this 25. And it's going to be a battle for the lead coming down to the end of this race. As Richard Wolfster here in this 56, he's going to be here on the inside letting these drivers go by.
Well, Wolfster had a slide coming on the exit of that last corner, and that's going to be one of the things that our leaders are getting nervous about. They're running so fast, they are catching up the lap traffic faster than any time during the stage yet. And right now, you've got to be careful here, Cody Reed. Lap traffic could be a chaotic factor. Lap traffic was already warned coming into tonight. Try your best. Do not get in the way of the leaders when they're catching up to you. Now it's up to Camper. How aggressive will he be to stay in line, or will he just fall over and let our leaders go? As well as when Cody makes this pass, they've got another group of drivers that are battling for position ahead.
That they do, man. This is all heating up for sure. And even the 56 now back here around Cedric Hunter and them. So there's lap cars all around. They got groups battling up ahead. I don't think they're going to catch really up to 14th position of Mason Halsman. I think that'll be the last driver that stays on the lead lap. But Michael Mitty, Alex Coffey, possibly even Christian DeRoches, Ryan Harrison, they may all fall in the clutches of these leaders. But Carl Pooler should be the next one on the list here as they come down the front straightaway with Reed leading the way, coming to 11 laps to go.
And Rogers is getting faster. That last lap before this previous one, he was just about a couple hundredths off of Steven Stipien's fastest time. Drivers going high to get by that of Mike Thomas. Thomas trying to stay out of the way the best that he can. He might be in the way for that of Cedric Hunter and Gavin Rogers. And for Cody Reed, he's got to be loving this picture behind, as that's Cedric Hunter as well as Rogers. They lost speed at the most critical point of this track.
Yeah, you don't want to have an offline situation there in the, through the S's, and that's what both of those drivers had. They had to really wrangle those cars into the groove that really isn't the preferred one there, as they both come out and now the bus stop here and try to head down to the corner. But Steven Stipien, he's got it within about 4 car lengths up front. It's starting to heat up everywhere as this battle back there is heating up. This battle is also heating up as Cody Reed can see Carl Pooler up the head. One of the last lap cars he'll have to deal with for the next few laps, but he's got to navigate this well. He goes wide here, allowing Steven Stipien to close in just that little bit more.
It's a little bit. Updates for drivers deeper in the field, though. That of Mason Hausman, who was battling to try to get inside of the top 10, will not work because he got spun around off the hood of Nigel Christensen, the 78 winner of this race last season, all the way back to 16th position, and in a potential position where he could be going a lap down based on the speed that we're seeing from our leaders at this time. But they're starting to slow down, Zach, that last lap. All of our leaders, they did not put down a 110. That could be a good sign for Gavin Rogers. He's trying to close in the gap as he's trying to get by Centric here.
Oh, so close, but the run for the 31 machine here down the straightaway. Rogers looks out to the left, 700 late, deep breaking into that corner. Luckily, holds onto it for himself, but here comes the run from Rogers down the 6. Not going to have nothing here for him, though. It's going to be tough to make this pass happen. Cedric Hunter back in that center up to try to get the run out the corner. And there, look, there goes the 31. Giant run for him, and that's just smart driving from the 31, knowing he has to make that run out of the corner last.
He has to make it work as they're coming up to Carl Pooler. Pooler's going to stay in the racing line for now, and Cedric Hunter will duck it to the outside lane. That might be not where he wants to be. That's not the preferred lane. He'll let the car down low, and that forces that at the 77 to go high. And for Gavin Rogers, he'll keep at least some type of momentum, but that's going to cost him just about a couple of tenths.
Yeah, and the gap's still about almost 4 seconds for these drivers up to the lead with under 10 laps to go now. It's going to be super tough to gain that advantage on these drivers. And I tell you, Cody Reed, Steven Stippian, they're in an area of their own. Can they pull this race off after a dominating performance from Gavin Rogers? He's won both stages, won the pole, and now stuck back and forth, having to not be able to get the passes done, but I think he's finally got up the third. Will he be able to make the charge up to these drivers?
It was a weak surge through the S's. Got Rogers now moving up to third place, but it's these drivers up front. It is the rookies that are leading the way. Cody Reed, Steven Stympian, both historic showings in the Freaky Fast broadcasting history books of many of the leagues that we've covered. Stympian, we've seen win a lot of championships. We've seen win, a lot of races. It's this 25. He's got coming up to 8 laps to go, and he's got to be even more careful than he's ever been before because the group of drivers this 25 machine is closing in to has been causing a lot of issues on the track the last about 5 laps. They've been either spinning off track or have gotten into one another. This is going to be the toughest 8 laps this 25 could ever ask for as he's trying to get himself into victory lane.
Yeah, he slides a little bit through there through 1, and that's tough. You got to hold on to that grip there through that corner, and he looks to get a good run out at least. It's definitely on the edge, and I tell you, Sam, we've seen Cody Reed a lot here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting a ton of times. Have great runs, have really good chances. Even Watkins Glen in previous history has been a good track for him, but he's never been able to pull it off. He's just never been able to do it. And I tell you what, those things start to creep into your mind here, especially as that race gets longer and longer here and it gets closer to the finish. Your foot will, I can tell you from previous experience, it will start to shake. You'll get those nervous feelings starting to rush through your body, and you can't let them overtake you. You have to continue to just put in the good lap times and try to drive into the sunset.
You're seeing the speed differences of the last 5 laps. Going to be seeing the new update when they come across the line. And it is now over a second. This is the biggest the gap has been since the last restart. Cody Reed, it just seems that the fresh air is working for the 25 at this time. Gavin Rogers going to be 4 seconds back from our leader. And Zach, as we get to see the update come in, I mean, a huge gap, over 4/10 of an advantage that last lap. Cody Reed is starting to hit his own as he almost put down his fastest lap of the race that last lap.
That he did. He is starting to hit strides and didn't lose any single time, or I mean really just a couple hundredths to Gavin Rogers, and that's not going to do it here with the gap we've seen so far. 7 laps to go. Luckily, he's also got Steven Stympian in between him and Rogers. He just needs to hit good marks, needs to keep doing what he's doing and stick with it, because right now the strategy has been on point. The older set of tires, 59 laps old tires, have hung on, and they're still producing laps as fast as he's ever run all race.
This 25 certainly has been humming, but they're closing in on lap traffic. That's going to be Ryan Harrison's going to be the next driver in line to be catching up to. Then the next driver after that's going to be Christian DeRoches and Alex Coffey. We'll see how nice these drivers want to play. One, we see Cody Reed and others close in, because the more drivers you put a lap down, I mean, Zach, you know it as a driver, the harder it gets to pass each one of those drivers.
That it does, Sam. Every single pass after that is just that much harder. And I tell you what, Rogers, he's putting into a new level also. 1:09.95 there for his fastest lap of the race. It's not going to count towards the fastest laps of the race due to an incident he's received on the lap. But man, oh man, he's starting to pick up the pace. He's about 3.3 seconds back from this 25 machine, but it's going to be take a lot for him to close this down. He is going to have to be very, very quick each and every lap, and he's going to have to get by Steven Stipien so quickly. And we know Steven Stipien, not prone to mistakes. That's where Steven Stipien, I feel like, shines his best, is he does not make a bunch of mistakes, and that's going to make the pass that much harder. So right now, Cody Reed, with that 1.3 second gap, he needs to just look forward and try to get through his lap traffic. Like you said, this is the most important time. He cannot lose a valuable amount of time here through traffic.
Over the radio, Ryan Harrison going to be saying, I'm going to try to let you go on by when you catch up to me, and it might be on the front stretch where the 13 just pulls over, but that's going to be a lot of drivers 13 might have to let off as he pulls in to the inside lane, letting our leader go on by. That of Cody Reed coming to 5 laps to go. Can he get it done for the rookie and a driver that we've been talking about for a long time here throughout Freaky Fast? Can he find himself in victory lane and win the next level karting 200? As Gavin Rogers, it's down to 2.5 seconds. He's catching up here, Zach.
That he is catching up. He's going to have to make quick work of Steven Stipien. It's going to be coming to 4 to go next time. And if he doesn't make quick work of that 81 machine when he gets to him, it will be so much more tough. But if he can do it quick, if he can get it in within the next lap or two, he's still got a shot at this. His lap times are so quick that he is going to be right in threat of trying to get this lead late in the race with how much speed he's showing right now. So right now, Rogers is not out of the woodworks. He knows this is still his shot if he can just put together the perfect laps.
It's just been fast lap after fast lap, and he's been trying for that Gavin Rogers to figure out how to close in. He was down to 4 seconds, being the gap between himself and Cody Reed. This go-around looking to be about 2.5 seconds. And based on this speed and the rate that he's going, Gavin Rogers can catch up to Cody Reed. But again, like you said, Steven Stipien going to be the biggest roadblock on how fast he can get on by. 4 to go. The gap, 2.4 seconds. That last time by, only a gain of 0.2. Gavin Rogers needs to be faster than that if he wants to catch up and take this win.
That he's going to need every bit of ounce and ounce of speed in that car left to get this position. But the next car that I think is going to be, somewhat caught here will be Christian DeRoche's in the 57. How does Cody Reed get around him? That is going to be so critical for him as Rogers through the S's is just amazingly fast. He gains almost a half a second through there to the drivers up ahead of him. Steven Stipien, he's going to have to do the best work here because the 81, he's going to have the pressure now with the 77 2 car lengths off him.
It took about 3 laps for that Gavin Rogers to find a way to get by that Cedric Hunter. It cannot be that long. If you take 3 laps to get by the driver ahead, this race is going to be already over and done. Cody Reed catching up to the DeRoches, and then after that, it's going to be the 55 of Meady going to be the next driver to catch up to as we ride on the back bumper of the 81. Steven Stipien, he got a much better launch out of that last corner. 3 laps to go for Cody Reed.
3 laps to glory, as they would say, and he's going to be dire in his mirror knowing that, man, if Rogers gets around him, this is going to be on, because 7/10 that last lap was what Rogers was faster. He's about 1.6 back now. That would be right on the back bumper on the last lap if he can do it. But you can see through the S's, the 81's holding strong. It's the dirty air that is holding the 77 up. And this is going to be Gavin Rogers really leaving this 81 to make a huge mistake, in my opinion. He needs this 81 to miss a corner to allow him to get that position. But right now, Steven Stipien, you can see, great exit through the bus stop and holds position for now.
Holds the position, and at this point, Gavin Rogers is only going to have just a handful of more opportunities to try to go for a pass. Cody Reed trying to talk and get some help from the lap cars, asking for them, hey, can you just get out of the way as soon as possible, because this 25 cannot afford to lose any more ground. Gavin Rogers is trying to set up to where he needs to make a pass. And Zach, I don't know where the 77 potentially could make a pass here on Steven Stipien, but he needs to probably make it this lap as it's 2 to go here at the Glen.
2 laps to go. No pressure from Reed right now. He needs to just hit his marks and be steady because he got past the lap car of Christian DeRoches. I don't think he's going to have too much issues with lap traffic here. He might get Michael Giamatti on the last lap, but Stipien and along with Rogers here stuck behind the lap car, and this is going to give Rogers the chance that he needs. He needs to get the run up out of the S's here, but Stempien holding on for now as they come down towards the bus stop. The lap car going to be right there in front of them, but this time it's not going to be enough for Rogers.
They get clear through the bus stop. That of the 81, able to hold steady for now. We got to spin the exit of the bus stop where Stempien's been faster, and once again, the much cleaner exit. But Gavin Rogers, he's putting the pressure on. He's trying to get back into the throttle. He's just not close enough. He needs to make the pass on this opportunity at this corner if he wants a full lap to go after Cody Reed. And Reed, a 1 second lead over Steven Stempien, and it continues to just flirt back and forth. How can Cody Reed hold on as we're coming around the final bend, coming to the white flag? Cody Reed needs to just hit his marks, and he'll find himself in a victory lane. It's the freaky fast white flag here for the Next Level Karting 200.
Right here, we got 2.45 miles left, and Rogers making the big move. He makes it stick on Steven Stempien up to second. What will Reed see in his mirror? He needs to look forward as they're going to be possibly battling down into the S's as Rogers cuts down in front of the 81. Reed has the gap. He just needs to be nice, precise, and smooth. There's no lap traffic ahead to worry him. If he can just pull this off, he will come back to victory lane. He's coming down here to the bus stop, one of the most technical parts of the track, where you can see a bunch of traffic, but he's not going to play a factor here down to the end.
He's seeing a little bit of traffic, but again, they should not be a factor out of the bus stop, though. A huge gain. Gavin Rogers split the gap in half, but it's just not close enough. Cody Reed, he's got 2 more corners. Just don't make a mistake, and victory will be yours as the 25 coming down to the second to last bend hits his mark onto the brakes. He is perfect at that moment. It's 6/10 difference. It goes down to almost a half a second, but it won't matter. Cody Reed, he holds off Gavin Rogers into the outside wall. The 25, all the mistakes, all the woes in other leagues, but Cody Reed wins at Wicked Racing League.
What a finish there for Reed. Gavin Rogers tried everything in his power. I mean, I know he was going for it, but that was never going to last for him in that 77 machine. He's going to bring it across the line in fourth, directly ahead of Christopher Norris. Cedric Hunter's going to be third, Steven Stempien second, and Cody Reed finally gets that long-awaited victory for himself. You know the kid's going to be elated.
I mean, he is already, I can hear it over the radio, the joy in his voice. Cody Reed, I mean, I know he hates to make, I've made this statement so many times in other leagues, is notoriously known on Monday nights. It's almost known as the Cody Reed moment, where he usually self-spins when he has a fast car and a fast truck and mistakes just climb on the 25. But this is the first time, Zach, he can say, get that monkey off his back. He did not have the mistake here tonight. The strategy was perfect. He put in the time and effort to practice, and tonight this 25 gets to burn it down. And believe the first time ever here on Freaky Fast broadcasting coverage. And this is going to be a good one for him to feel as one of his friends coming on by, Christopher Norris, giving him a congratulational throttle up next to him. But man, Zach, this has got to be a good one for this 25 to feel.
It never gets better. It never gets better than this feeling right here, because you know you had to work for it. It took everything out of you. I mean, he was so conservative in the bus stop. You saw the gap close down with Rogers just giving it his all. I think Reed was definitely trying to be conservative, and that probably got him a little bit more heart racing. I know that feeling myself at a road course. You can be too cautious sometimes and give up too much time, but he did perfect. He made sure he kept the car on track, and he's going to bring it home with his first victory here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And like you said, Sam, it's just plagued him. Silly little mistakes here and there. And now he's going to be, I think, gaining a ton of confidence from just this one win.
It's incredible to watch and see. And as the 25 gets to have his fun of burning it down, we are going to step aside when we come back. It's the post-race show. We'll talk to our top 2 and our spotlight driver. We'll also get you set up for the upcoming weeks. We'll be back in just a few moments. We'll see you in the few. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show of the Wicked Racing League on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Tonight was a spectacular night. We saw some drivers racing for history books in some fashions, and others able to write their name in that book for themselves. And it's going to be the winner tonight of Cody Reed taking the next level karting 200 here at Watkins Glen. What a run for himself. And I know he's probably got to be feeling elated on the fact that we've seen the history. We've seen the mistakes in other leagues, but it's tonight where we finally get to crown Cody Reed a winner on Freaky Fast on our broadcast side of things. Cody, congratulations, man. How are you feeling? You're a winner here of the Wicked Racing League.
Dude, I'm feeling great. I was screaming when I came out of the final turn and I saw Gavin hit the wall. I probably like busted my teammates' eardrums. I'm gonna be honest. It was pretty crazy. My heart is like still beating out of my chest right now. Uh, Man, it feels so good, especially after Monday, how that went down. Like I was so good in the ISRC Truck Series at Chicagoland, and to lose the way I did. I was pretty upset about that, and I've been pretty down since then. But this is huge. It's my first league win in any league, so I'm really pumped. And that was a long race. It was pretty awesome.
That it was, Cody, man. Congrats. I know that feeling, man. It's awesome to get that first win. It gets all of those tough days off your shoulders, and now you can just focus on going out there racing, man. I mean, take us through it, though. You guys elect to do the strategy of taking no tires during the race. How'd them tires feel coming down to the end? Because we saw y'all turning fast lap after fast lap, even on 60 lap old tires.
Honestly, like they felt like brand new tires. It's so different in these cup cars. You just get faster and faster rather than like in trucks. It's you run a couple fast laps at the beginning and that's it. But yeah, the tires never really got bad. It felt pretty much the same all race, other than like when you're on like brand new tires. But once they settle in, it's just lap after lap. It's the same deal. You just have to get in the groove, and yeah.
Well, Cody, with this win, you are now officially locked into the playoffs. We know the upcoming schedule certainly is going to be an interesting one. You got New Hampshire, Bristol, and Daytona. But I mean, how are you feeling moving on to these next couple of races, knowing that the weight of the pressure of trying to make the playoffs is kind of off your shoulders now?
I mean, yeah, that pressure's off, but I'm still going for wins, you know? I mean, those 3 tracks you just named, like, I love those tracks, dude. I love me some flat tracks. You know how I feel about Gateway, and New Hampshire's pretty similar. Bristol's pretty great. Daytona's great. Um, I'm pretty excited for those tracks. So I'll try to make it 4 in a row, you know? I don't know. I'm pretty
And
excited.
I mean, that's one way to keep your confidence high. Cody, congratulations again on your win. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to thank everyone that was in my ear during the race. You got Cedric, Norris, Stemp was in there, Tyler. I'd like to thank Martin Morales. You know, I'm running the Morecast paint scheme since he's not going to be running this league due to some schedule difficulties and everything. I'd like to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. And I'd like to thank the admins of the league. It's a really fun time.
Well, that is going to be your winner here tonight, the 25 Morecast machine of Cody Reed. Congratulations on this win. Enjoy it, and good luck on your next race.
Yeah, thank you. I'll see you guys.
As we go from victory lane, we head to that of second place, who this driver wasn't even in second place until after that final corner. We got Steven Stimpian with us. Steven, you had a hard-fought battle there. You kind of went with the same strategy as our winner did of not taking tires all race long. But, man, how are you feeling coming away with the second place finish tonight?
Man, I'm beat. That was a tough race. I am drenched in sweat right now. That was grueling.
That it was, Steven. I'm sure it was grueling out there from the driver's seat, man. And you guys pulled off the amazing strategy. No tires there. Coming down those last few laps there with Gavin Rogers right behind you. We've seen how fast he was all night. How hard was it to hit the marks with the 77 right behind you?
I was trying my best to keep him behind me. I was, concentrating on Cody. Not to take anything away from him. It's a great win, but I feel like he had a lot of help from lap traffic the last 15 laps. think if I just caught him in bad spots, he caught him in good spots, and I think that was all she wrote for me. But yeah, I was trying. I know Gavin was fast, and I knew that him taking tires would eventually even out to us. But we were clicking consistent laps in the tens, mid tens. So those are some of the fastest laps I ran all night. But I'm stoked. It's my best finish at a road course ever. Still evading me that win here, but I'll get it one of these days.
Well, I mean, it's your best finish at a road course and also your best finish of the season. I know you're coming in as a rookie here, Steven, and we're heading to some pretty strong tracks. I think I've seen you perform well at. We're heading to that in New Hampshire, Bristol, and Daytona. How are you feeling heading into these next 3 races?
I definitely got New Hampshire circled on my calendar. I'm looking forward to that. That's my home track. I perform well there, and hopefully I'll get a win coming up here in the next few weeks. We got some good tracks coming up. New Hampshire's obviously, like I said, home track. Bristol's good. Daytona, anything can happen. So I'm looking forward to it. Just pumped that I got a top 3 here at Watkins Glen for once.
Well, that is going to be the 81 machinist Steven Stimpian. Congratulations on a second place finish. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Obviously, the league owners here, great job coming aboard. They do a good job. And you guys with the stellar broadcast as always, and commentating. My dad out there for the support, never misses a race, even when my friends are in races he watches. And then, my team, Smoke Inc., glad to get that team back up and running this season. And my beautiful fiance out there, wife. Shit. Excuse me. I can't say that, huh? She's probably gonna come smack me in here. And my baby boy out there. I love them all. But appreciate you guys. Look forward to seeing you at Loudon next week.
Well, congratulations, Steven, on making it to second place. Hopefully we'll see you at the next race if you survive to that point. But congratulations again, and good luck at the next race.
Thanks, guys. You guys have a good week.
So that's going to be second place of Steven Stimpian. We now head down to fourth place. Talked about driver trying to go for history books. Was not able to get it here tonight, but we've got Gavin Rogers with us. Gavin, fourth place for yourself there. We saw you try to go for the dive bomb for the lead. Just wasn't enough. But, man, how are you feeling after the way that race ended for yourself? We'll ask again. Gavin, are you there? Don't believe that we have Gavin Rogers, but we'll give him another go here. 77, Gavin Rogers, is your mic muted, or are you there? Well, it seems like our spotlight driver is not going to be there, so sadly we will not be having our spotlight driver for this race, but I know Gavin probably is not in the best of moods and not going to be wanting to talk with us here this evening. But with that, we will be finding ourselves going and looking at our results here this evening, as the drivers had a wild 65 laps. It was a long one, but it came down to strategy on how this race went down, as that of Cody Reed going to be taking the win for himself. Steven Stimpian going to get second. Cedric Hunter is going to get third, as well as Gavin Rogers falling all the way down to fourth place. Christopher Norris fifth. Blaine Wilson, what a run for himself, up 8 positions, going to be in that at 6th place. Adam Buzzio gets 7th, as well as going to be seen that of Gregory Shull getting in the top 10. A great run for himself, up 7 positions from where he started. That Stephen Burbell caught up with some messes, but a great top 10 finish for himself overall. Mason Hausman, who had a couple of big slip-ups, did not finish where he wanted, all the way down in 10th place.
What a crazy race, man. You see the rest of the order. I'm sure some drivers who wanted some better nights. I think Alex Coffey's going to be the number 1 on that list in the 70. He was so fast. And that first stage is going to finish 12th. And as you go down the list, it's going to be drivers who have bumps and bruises all night, but there was some drivers who made up some good ground. I mean, Jimmy Kubinek coming up with 13th place finish there after starting 24th. Nigel Christian after starting 29th and being involved in the instant start, he's going to finish 15th. So you got to take some headway from that, coming out of this race. But man, Sam, what a crazy race here at Watkins Glen. Strategy again, it prevailed. I brought it up early in the broadcast. I felt like the older tires would prevail. It gives you the track position, and it just seems like they get faster and faster, and it seems like it's done it once again.
It really has, and I'm curious on how these strategies are going to be thought up of going forward in future races. We've got ourselves another road course the driver's going to have to handle later on, and curious on how well they're going to be getting their service done here this evening. As for us here tonight, what a wild night it was watching these drivers. We got plenty of other coverage throughout the week to give you. But if you'd like to help support us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, the best way you could do so is with our merch. Here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we've got t-shirts and hoodies in great sizes and also colors of whatever you are going for. Big thanks to everyone that has purchased so far. And if you'd like to help us out again, this is the best way to support us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And Zach, a wild upcoming races, more road courses to come, as tomorrow night gonna be that of the Stars and Stripes and the ARCA cars heading to Sonoma.
Sonoma, man, and the ARCA cars too. That's gonna be fun to watch. I tell you, I love road courses. I know we got 3 of them in a row here in our schedule, with the night being Watkins Glen, Sonoma, the tomorrow night, and then Monday night being at Watkins Glen, the boot version though of this track. So we got 3 in a row, and I'm excited because I'm a big fan of road courses. I always like them as a driver, and I feel like they just produce really good races, especially when you got mixed up ones like this. So going into Sonoma tomorrow night, it's going to be interesting because it'll be different. First of all, there won't be as much, thought about not taking tires. I think every single time you come down there, you're going to want to get 4 tires and fuel just to do to the tire wear that's produced at that track and those cars. So we should have a good one on our hands. It's going to be a mixed up one. Can Scott Rickard, is my big question, go there and get another victory added to the books for him?
Yeah, Scott Rickard has won practically every road course in that series. He is going to try to continue on that streak, but there are some strong contenders to watch out for, and that coverage will be tomorrow night at that of 9:30 Eastern here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But for us here tonight, thank you for joining on your Wednesday night watching of the Wicked Racing League. But for myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, Robert Moyer, and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on our next broadcast.